what that means in terms of new ways of displaying and interacting with cinematic content and narrative. And I just wanted to get a poll right now to see how many of you in the audience are actual filmmakers or emerging filmmakers. Okay, so it's a fair number of you. And how many of you would consider yourself to be not just filmmakers but content creators? Great, excellent. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different types of technologies and trends. And we're also going to talk about, what story means in terms of traditionally a beginning, a middle, and a clean wrapped up ending, going from point A, B to C, but how that's changed with digital networks and social media, and how storytelling can be open-ended and multi-branching and participatory and exploratory. One thing I'd like to emphasize with the session as well is that this is about getting the creative juices flowing. So we're not here to talk about revenue streams or business models or monetization. That's the next panel after us. Let's forget about that. Let's just be blue sky and let's be as creative as possible, because what we'd like to do is to start the discussion and then leave a big chunk of time at the end for you guys to talk about some ideas you have and sort of doing a sort of workshop session with the ideas and how technology can fit into that. So I'd like to start by introducing the panel and talking about one particular question that we'll kick things off with each panel member, which is what projects have you been involved with where the use of technology has advanced the art of storytelling? So up first, I'll introduce Jean Hubert. He's the program manager at Mobile News, and he's also a PhD candidate at SFU, School of Communication, studying the cultural adoption of mobile social media. So Jean, I'll let you go into this first.
Okay.
What it is that you do, and also if you could talk about that particular question.
Okay. For those of you who are curious, I am right now. I'm live streaming this to the web. I'm looking at you, and this Nokia N82 phone is actually doing very, very supremely well in low light. I'm the program manager at Mobile News. Thanks, Jennifer. I'm also something of a user experience researcher, which means an anthropologist of people who use gadgets and that sort of thing. And so that's the substance of my PhD research. Most recently, the past 16 months, I've been working at Mobile News, and we've been developing a suite of mobile software solutions that enable citizen journalism using live streaming video on mobile phones. We also have a social media aggregation service, which I've been running all day around the tag with 09, collecting everything that people are posting to Flickr and YouTube and that sort of thing. There's a lot more detail I could go into about it. There will be an opportunity to see this platform in action, hopefully during the reception, at least for a little while, because I have to go look after my daughter. I will be actually live VJing a lot of the content that's coming in that's appropriately tagged with 09, and you'll be able to either directly contribute a text message or that sort of thing. I don't know, should I talk more?
Let's go back to that question about projects specifically that you've been involved with that advance your education.
Okay, well, mobile video, for one, there's sites such as has anyone ever taken a live mobile video with your phone? Okay, 2 people. About a half a dozen. Actually, that's surprisingly a rich response, more than what I'm used to. We have a mobile streaming service that we've white-labeled from a company called Livecast. That's local to Vancouver. There are other services out there like Quick.com. One that is open source is Movino, on which the Bambuser platform is built. And these are new kinds of platforms for people to have mobile video conversations. If you go to bambuser.com, you can see what's going on there. You can see live video from the Netherlands, and then people are responding to it, and they're building communities around shared interest using video. It's kind of like sites that are built on the idea of the YouTube conversation. Seismic is another one that I believe is opening its doors to mobile video as well. Seismic is a much more established channel. I think these are really the narrative tools of at least the next 10 years. But I've been wrong lots of times before. The other really interesting trend, and this stuff is pretty cutting edge and something that MobileMuse is one of the only players in, is the live VJing. So live VJing of social media. I hate that term because the TV is a social medium. But what this live VJing software allows us to do is to bring in social media from Flickr, from YouTube, and also from text messages and multimedia messaging, and to bring it into a performance space. So to revise the idea of what performed live film is kind of like. I think that these are really interesting that are creating new opportunities for people who are maybe more so for people who are just coming onto the scene and just kind of finding their voice and just kind of becoming media literate in the first place. But I think there's a wider general opportunity too for filmmakers.
Thank you, Sean. Directly to my right is Stacey Support, and she's the artist and designer and faculty member of School of Interactive Arts and Technology at SFU. She specializes in embodied interaction, sense-making, and the aesthetics of interaction. And she leads the Whispers Research Group, which is an acronym for Wearable, Handheld, Intimate, Sensory, Personal, Expressive, Responsive System. So, what does that really mean? That means responsive, responsive, responsive. Well, I've been a media artist for 20 years, and my background is actually in dance performance, aka theater performance, and computing science. So I've actually been working a lot with, I guess you said notions of embodiment. My project had quite an extensive range from the early 90s when I worked with interactive performance and sensor systems on stage to work that I began to develop with video and I would call it episodic narrative forms and physical senses such as touch, so that our bodies' senses would actually engage and interact with and actually construct a narrative. So I'm using the term storytelling in a rather loose way in relation to my work because it tends to be very much engaged with enacting a moment in participants. And then in the early 2000s, I began to work with wearable technologies. Wearable technologies and actually mobile technologies. And part of this is my response to, essentially, if we think of miniaturization, that technology is becoming smaller,